Welcome to another Autodesk Inventor 101 The Basics live session. Last time we got together, we took a look at the absolute basics like sketching, dimensioning, extrusions, fillets, and creating holes. Today we're going to do a little bit more advanced things, but still pretty basic. Again, we're going to start with a sketch, do some dimensioning, look at the revolve command, some more cutting, and a circular pattern. So let's take a look here. We're going to start by going to 2D sketch just like last time. And starting on the XY plane, we're going to make just a simple looking, what I'll call an upside down L. And for any of you that are watching and following along or want to follow along, there's actually a book that I'm using to learn Autodesk Inventor, and that is called Autodesk Inventor 2018, A Tutorial Introduction by Scott Hansen. So far so good with teaching me how to use the product. All right, so we have our L created. Now we're going to slap some dimensions on there. So 1.5 inches, 0.75. If I zoom out here a bit, we'll be able to see the sketch still. 0.5 and 2 inches. With that, we can click the Finish Sketch button, and now we've already made our first mistake. That's okay. We're going to right-click and choose to edit our sketch. And what did I do wrong? I'm actually going to create a line that's going to be our axis of revolution. So if I just create that extra line, I'm going to dimension that as well. I'm going to do a point-to-point dimensioning, and we're going to define this to be about 0.25 inches away. And now when I finish the sketch, when we revolve, we'll use that line, and we're going to see a hole get created in the center. So let's use the revolve command. So this is something we haven't done before in our live sessions. And we're going to have to choose two things. One, the profile, which I'm picking here, and one, an axis, which I'll pick here. And now you can see it automatically gives me the look of the full revolution. So pretty cool. If we click OK, we have our 3D geometry created. So pretty simple. The next thing we're going to be doing is chopping a little bit of this out. So if I get into the front view here, we can see that this, what I'll call the taller cylinder, is solid right now. We're going to take a V-shaped notch out of that. And we're going to do that by creating another 2D sketch. To help us be able to see things a little more clearly, though, we're going to turn this into a wireframe view. So in the view drop down, go to Visual Styles and change it to wireframe. So if we rotate this around a little bit, now we can see all of this good stuff that we have going on. All right, so we're going to make another 2D sketch. And again, we're going to do it on the XY plane. And so you can see if I swing this around, the sketch is going to be resulting right in the middle of everything. Now, we don't want to have to redraw all of the lines that we're interested in, so we're going to use another command, and this is pretty much my favorite command there is, and that's project geometry. So with that selected, I'm able to select whatever area or whatever geometry I'm interested in, and you can see that the lines now project in this beautiful green area, or these beautiful green lines. So you can see even though I selected two circles, it projects. Pretty cool. Next, I'm going to use project cut edges. And so what this is doing is projecting, as you can see, all these other green lines, any geometry that our sketch plane cuts through. So since we're in the middle, all of these lines will now show up. Pretty simple. So now, how about creating that triangle for the extrusion process? All right, again, we're going to use the line command, and I'm going to zoom in down here at the bottom, and I'll just create a quick triangle. And now we're going to have to dimension the triangle accordingly to get the sizes that we want, or the size of the cutout that we want. So again, we're going to choose dimension, and this time I used the D button for dimension as one of the hotkeys that we use, and type in 0.138 and Well, that'll work anyways. This will be 0.1, and here to here, 0.138. And what else do we have to define? One more thing. We're going to use the dimensioning tool. And instead of using this to dimension the size of a line like we've been doing, we're going to actually use this by selecting these two lines and defining the angle between the two of them. We can do the same thing for the other side. And if we define them both to be 20, we now have our triangle finished. So now, since we know we're going to revolve this around to have a V notched out of the whole thing, we're going to just find the center, and you can see that when the green ball shows up, we're at the center point, and draw another axis around for our revolve process. Finishing that sketch, click on revolve, and again, we have to choose a profile and an axis. So I choose that triangle. It shows up in red, and then when I click it, it turns green. Now when I press axis, I'll choose that line. And right now it thinks that it's going to be extruding and adding more geometry. If we click on the cut button, we can see that it now shows up red, and it's showing that we're going to remove geometry. If I click OK, we can kind of see that it's notched in there. But if we go back and we change our visual style back from wireframe to shaded with edges, it becomes a little clearer that we now have that cool looking V-notch in our cylinder. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, and really the last thing we're going to be taking a look at today, is our circular pattern. So one more time, we're going to create a 2D sketch, and this time we're going to do it on a surface of a part that we're working on. So again, if I choose that surface, you can tell that the surface of the large cylinder is where we're going to be creating this sketch at. So we're going to use a line, and starting at the center, instead of defining it like normal where we draw the line and then use the dimension tool, I'm just going to dimension it to be 1.5 inches from the start. And now I'm going to use a circle and click and dimension this to be, I don't know, 0.5 inches. All right. So next, I suppose I would be able to use a circle command or a circular pattern command and pattern this sketch around and then extrude everything. But instead of doing that, I'm going to first delete this center line and finish the sketch. And now I'm going to go back to our friendly extrude command. It has our profile already selected for us. If I just click this and drag it through, you can see that instead of choosing the cut option, it automatically does that for me. I'm going to put in a different size here. We're seeing that it goes all the way through. And now we have a cut through our part. So pretty simple, but I want more of the same size hole all the way around this part. So to do that, I'm going to use the circular pattern command. And they hit it a little bit on us. So here under pattern, you see we have a bunch of different options. This one here is circular pattern. So since we aren't using a sketch, we're using features, we have to choose the feature that we want to pattern, that in this case being this hole we just made. And you can see that it highlights kind of in like a dotted red line. And then again, we have to find a rotation axis. And fortunately for us, we already have this cylinder created. So we're going to choose this top circle. And now you can see clockwise how these holes are going to be positioned. So you can see the placement. If we change this to be 4 holes, we'd get it like that. If it was 8 or 5 holes, if it was 8 holes. And you can also change how many degrees. So if it was 180 degrees, we'd have a lot more closely spaced things. So let's go ahead and stick with 6 and 360 degrees. Click OK. And there we have it. We have all 6 holes evenly placed in a circular pattern around the cylinder that we had defined. So that's basically everything that I wanted to take a look at today. We reviewed how to create a 2D sketch, how to dimension the sketch. We actually learned how to use the revolve command, as well as how to create another sketch on a plane intersecting our part and used that to remove some of our geometry, and then created a 2D sketch on a surface to use a circular pattern so that we would have the same circular hole feature around the entire part. Hopefully you learned something here. If you want to review some things that we did in this video or in past lessons, we have a series of videos listed as Autodesk Inventor 101, The Basics, which goes into a little bit more detail of all of these different workflows. I believe 3 parts are up there now. The 4th should be up there shortly. Join me again in another week or 2 for another live session of this demonstration. And thanks for watching.